Welcome, everyone. This is our stretch and strengthen low impact exercise series. And today is week 7 of 8. So next class is our very final one. It's gone by very quick, as always. So this class is recorded, and the recordings from the previous sessions have all been uploaded onto the Parkinson Society YouTube channel. And so if anyone wants to rewatch any of the classes or practice any of the exercises again, you're welcome to go onto the YouTube channel and have a look at these videos. If you're not sure where to find the exercise videos, you are welcome to send me an email, and I'd be happy to send you the link to our YouTube channel where you can have a look at the recording. So for those who are new today, don't worry about missing the other classes. You are welcome to join in and do your best in the class. If you wanted to have a look at the classes we've done before, you can go onto the YouTube channel. The class starts in a seated position, and we move to a standing position and then back down to a seated position by the end of the class. And this is our supported standing class, which means that when we are standing up, I would encourage you to hold on to something just for a little bit of added stability. You don't have to. You're, of course, more than welcome to stand and not hold on to anything, but I would encourage you to hold on if you feel a little bit unsteady today. Good morning. And we are using the webinar platform, and so some of you may have already found the chat box. So to communicate with me through the class, your microphones are automatically muted, so I won't be able to hear you. But if you did want to ask a question via voice, you are more than welcome to use the raise hand function. And I can always unmute your microphone manually, and you're welcome to ask a question that way. Or if you would like, you can also use the chat box function where you can type your question in the chat box, and I can do my best to answer them. Or of course, as always, you're welcome to email me as well. If it's going to be a more of a private matter, you're welcome to email me, or if it's just something easier for you to access versus using the chat box or the voice function here. I do apologize in advance for any sniffling you might hear during the class today. I am feeling a little under the weather. So you can probably tell the face is a little bit red. Been sneezing and blowing my nose a lot this morning. So I do apologize if that happens in the class, but I will try to be as less disruptive as possible when that happens. I will mute my microphone so you won't have to listen to me sniffle when that happens. So if you are new today, the chair that you're using for the class should ideally be a very stable chair. So nothing with wheels on it. You want something that's not going to rock or move underneath you as you're exercising today. And in an ideal world, you should be in a chair with no armrest, just so that way as we're moving around, you won't accidentally hit your elbows on anything or catch your clothing on anything. But of course, if you only have a chair with armrest, absolutely fine. Just be a little bit mindful as we're moving today to not get anything caught on the arms of the chair. Okay, I think that's it for me, and I can see everybody's come into the room already. Hopefully you can all hear me and see me okay. So without further ado, we will get started. I'm just going to pull up my timer here so I can make sure we're not running over time during the class. Okay. All right, so we're going to sit in our chair. Now, let me turn sideways for a second. When we are sitting in our chair in the class, we are always assuming that we're sitting up nice and tall and we're at the front of our seat. So what we want to avoid when we are exercising in a seated position is we never want to be sitting all the way back in the chair and leaning into the backrest or the armrest of the chair. Because if you're in this position, you're not very engaged. You're very sort of flaccid against the surface you're sitting on, and we're not actually actively using any of our muscles. And so as we start moving, all the movements are going to be not very well controlled and probably a lot smaller range than you could have if you were sitting upright directly on top of your your sitting bones and you're sitting at the front of your seat, you're already engaging your trunk muscles because you're sitting upright and you're in a more active position to be able to move your arms and legs in all sorts of directions. And so whenever we're sitting in this class for exercises, you're always assuming we're in this kind of ready position, okay? Unless I specifically ask you to slouch, then we would do that, but that would be in the context of a different type of exercise. Okay, so we're gonna start sitting at the front of our seat, feet flat onto the floor, nice loose shoulders, sit up nice and tall. We're gonna start by floating those arms up in front of us like this. And then we're gonna pull one elbow back towards the back wall and you're letting your gaze follow. So you're in a sort of a rotation and then you come back to the front. Same to the other side, you're pulling your elbow back, rotating your body, and then forward again. It's almost like if you got a bow arrow and you're kind of pulling back the bow along with the arrows, that kind of idea. You're pulling the elbow back, you're kind of twisting your body a little bit, and you're going to the other side. Nice and easy to start, gentle movement. Try to keep the shoulders away from the ears if you can, and just getting some rotation into the trunk here. Apologies about the sniffles. Gotta make sure you're breathing as you're doing this rotational movement. You never want to be holding the breath. And ideally, you don't want to be getting shorter and smaller as you're moving. Sit up nice and tall, get right over your sit bones, get your shoulders stacked on top of those ribs, on top of the hips. Rotating through the body. Really point the elbow to the back wall, let your gaze follow to help with that rotation. Nicely done, everybody. A few more. And we're gonna drop those arms, let them relax for a second. We're gonna do the same thing, but in a different direction this time. We're going to float the arms up overhead. Just go as far as you feel you're able to. If you can't go all the way up and you can only go sort of here, that's okay as well. But we're gonna try our best to reach up as high as we can, and we're sitting up as tall as we can. Same as before, we're pulling the elbow down, but into a side stretch this time. So it's like you're pulling your elbow toward your hips, and then you're coming back up, pulling the elbow towards the hips, and you're coming back up. Just be mindful that as you're doing this movement here, you're truly stretching towards the side. So you can see my body's kind of on an angle. So I'm not just bending the arms, right? I'm not just doing this, because this is not the movement we're going for. We're going to lean our body over to the side where the elbow is going. We're kind of using the elbow as a lead for the movement, but it's not just the elbow that's solely moving, but it's the entire body curving over to the side for a little bit of a trunk stretch on either side. If you find that I'm doing anything too quickly in the class, you're more than welcome to slow it down. It's always hard to have a class with so many people in it, and you're trying to tailor to everybody's levels. So please do feel free to slow things down if you need. And you'll probably notice that we have started to use levels in our exercise classes through the society. We've got level 1s to 3. So level 1 is a beginner-friendly class, for example, this one, and it's relatively slow paced and lots of time to have breaks if you need. Level 2 is a moderately paced class that is a little bit more of a fast pace compared to this class, for example. And then level 3 tends to be those challenger classes that are much more difficult and hopefully will push you a little bit to your limits in terms of fitness levels. So if you're looking at exercise classes and you're not sure which one to go to, that would be a good idea to have a look at those levels. Okay, let's bring those arms down. We're going to bring one leg out in front of us, almost like you're tapping the heel down. Opposite arm to leg is going to scoop forward like you're scooping something off the floor, and you're circling your arms back. Other leg, same thing, scooping. and circle the arm back. Now you can see that my arms kind of bend as I come back because I'm hitting my back wall here, but ideally you want your arms to go all the way straight back, but I can't do that here because I will hit my arm on the wall, but at home, please do straighten the arm as you circle back. Opposite arm to leg, and the leg that you're using, you're trying to straighten that knee as much as you can, straightening that knee and hinging forward at the hips. Doesn't matter if your foot is up or down. I know lots of times people always think, okay, when you do a hamstring stretch, you got to stick your foot up, but you don't actually need to. Sticking the foot up, you just get that neuro component where you kind of feel like you're stretching your nerve a little bit, which isn't always a good thing necessarily. So you're welcome to bring your foot down. It doesn't really matter as long as your knee is straight and you're hinging forward at the hips. A few more. I'm trying to remain as high energy as possible for you all, but I am feeling a bit under the weather, so I can feel myself being a little slower today to respond. Okay, we're gonna move on. This time, we're gonna go for leg straightening like this. So from the side, I'm straightening my knee such that my shin kind of comes up to meet my thigh. So what I'm not doing is I'm not going like this, lift, drop, lift. So I'm not doing this kind of movement there. I want to keep everything from the knee and above completely still. So my thigh bone entirely still is just the lower part of my leg that's straightening to meet the level of my thigh. So I'm not going clunk down to the floor, right? I'm keeping myself lifted and I'm bringing the shin up to meet my thigh. So it's a little bit more challenging than if you were to just stick it on the floor. So we're straightening the leg. So it's almost like you're showing the bottom of your foot. From here, we're going to draw 5 circles in one direction, trying to keep the opposite knee still. Don't let it do this. Keep it still. You're still sitting upright. And then you're going to go 5 circles in the other direction. Keep the knee straight. Don't let the circle come from here, but rather the knee straight, it's coming from the hip. And then same thing to the other side. I'll just turn sideways. You're straightening the leg to meet the thigh, so we're not dropping or plunking down. We're sitting tall, meeting the thigh, circling 5 times in one direction. Try not to let the other knee move. I'm exaggerating. I'm sure no one's actually doing it like that, but you're trying to keep that knee as still as you can. Try not to do this in the chair. Sit up nice and tall, 5 in one direction, and then you're going 5 in the other direction as much as you can. And then you do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to keep repeating. Now, this is really tough, and you're finding that as soon as you circle, your legs are kind of shaking out of place. And I would suggest you to go a little bit lower and a little bit smaller and slower the circle, because the quicker you do, the more likely it's going to be hard to control. So go a little slower. And if you need to, you can put your hands onto your opposite leg to try to help with stabilizing your body a little bit more versus letting that knee be free. But you're trying your best to not let any movement occur in the opposite leg. There's going to be some movement, but you're trying to avoid this kind of movement where the other knee is just sort of moving out of control, if that makes sense. So you can bring the circle down. So it doesn't have to be a huge circle. It could be a smaller circle, and you can do it slower as well to try to stabilize the opposite knee so it doesn't kind of do this movement. But try not to have the leg on the floor, because then you're doing something completely different if we're trying to lift that leg the entire time. 5 in one direction, 5 in the other direction. And rest for a second. Check in with your posture. Are we still sitting up nice and tall? Hopefully, yes. We're now going to warm up our ankles a little bit. So place your hands onto your hips. We're sitting up nice and tall, shoulders away from the ears. We're going to lift our heels up as high as we can on both sides. Lower, lift those toes up as high as we can. Again, lift the heels up as high as we can. Lift the toes up as high as we can. Lift the heels up as high as we can. Lift the toes up as high as we can. And we're going to repeat. And as we're doing this, we're trying to sit up nice and tall. So while we're doing this ankle movement, what we don't want to happen is for us to kind of do this movement. I'm exaggerating. I'm sure no one's actually doing it like that, but you want to avoid the trunk kind of moving with the leg. You want to dissociate the movement. So the ankle movement, yes, is moving the legs because, you know, as we push off the floor, the legs are going to come up a bit, but you want to avoid getting the trunk involved as much as you can. Keep going. Let's try the opposite direction now. So we're going to go, one leg is going to lift the heel and the other one is going to go for the toes. And then you're going to switch. One side, you're lifting the heel, the other side, the toes. Heel, toes, switch, heel, toes. So from the side, if I turn on a diagonal so you can see, so one side is lifting the toes, one side lifting the heel. And you're just going to keep switching for a second. Same as before, try to avoid this kind of movement. You want to keep your trunk in the same position the entire time if you can. Let's do a few more. And rest. Okay, I'm turning sideways. Now, this is one of those exercises. We're going to slouch in our chair, like I mentioned at the beginning. So we're now going to shuffle our bottom back in the seat. And you're gonna relax into the backrest of the chair for a second here. So you're in a sort of a slouch position. We're not trying to sit up tall. We're leaning back into the chair and relaxing a bit. From here, we're gonna bring those hands up behind the ears or behind the head like this. And just make sure that your elbows are pointing out to the side. So what I don't want to see is the elbows pointing forward like this. You want the elbows pointing to the side, and you're going to go up and over the back of the chair like this. And then you come back. So same thing. So let me show you again. The elbows are not pointing forward. They're pointing out to the side. And then you're going to go up and over the back of the seat. So you're stretching the chest, but also the upper back. And just be careful that you're not tipping so far back that you're going to fall off your chair. So this is another reason why the chair should ideally be pretty sturdy. If it's on wheels, you might not be able to get that. Or if the back seat of the chair is really high into the neck, you're not going to get that either. So you're using the back of the seat, which is sort of upper chest level, to kind of push your back into that stretch position. So up and over the back seat of the chair, holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Drop the arms for a moment. If you didn't quite get the right spot, you can slouch a little more and get a slightly higher stretch. Same thing, hands behind the head. Make sure the elbows are pointing out to the side, not forward, out to the side. And we're gonna go up and over the seat again, making sure that you're still opening the elbows out to the side. So we're not doing this all of a sudden. And you're holding this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Using your tummy muscles, we're going to sit up nice and tall, and we're going to bring our bottoms to the front of the seat again. So we're back into that activated position. Now we're going to go from some reverse rows for the arms. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to incline our body forward a little bit. So I'm hinging forward at the hips. My back is straight. So what I'm not doing is I'm not like this. So this is a very different movement. So this movement is not the same as this movement. So I'm hinging at the hips, keeping my spine as straight as I can, just a little bit. I'm not going too far. And then from here, I'm floating my arms up in front of me. And then I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades together and pull the elbows back as far as I can. So it's almost like imagine having a pencil between your shoulder blades and you're kind of squeezing the pencil there, and I'm sticking my elbows back. I'm lifting my elbows high. So my elbows are not down here, they're up here. So I'm on an incline. The arms are floating in front of me. I'm pulling my elbows back, almost like imagine if you've got lasers shooting out your elbows and you're pointing them at the back wall, and then bring them forward again. So really take this opportunity to squeeze those shoulder blades together, use those back muscles to pull the elbows back and then forward again. Let's try that again. Pull the elbows back, really squeeze the shoulder blades together and forward. Good, and again, pull the elbows back. Make sure the elbows are wide, not down here, up here. and forward. Keep going. I'm going to face you. You can see my elbows are wide. They're not down here. They're nice and wide, and I'm on an incline. Arms forward again. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Pull the elbows back and forward. Let's do 3 more. Pull the elbows back and forward. 2 more. Make sure you're still on an incline. Elbows wide, not down here, up here. 1 more. Pull the elbows back and press. Okay, roll the shoulders back a few times. And then roll the shoulders forward a few times. Let the weight of the arm be nice and heavy, so we're not holding our arms rigid, we're letting them kind of flop as we're doing the circles here. Okay. Last thing before we stand up, we're gonna float the arms up like so, palms facing down. So palms open, facing down, keeping the arms as straight as you can. We're gonna do some arm pulses here, and we're gonna go for 20. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Flip the palms up, same thing. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Flip the arm down. Now we're going to alternate, flipping down and up for 20. Try to keep the arms as long and straight as you can. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and rest. You can shake out those arms if you need. Okay. Now I'm turning sideways to you, and we're going to start standing up for our standing portion of the class. Now, if you've been here in the previous weeks, you know that we always spend some time talking about the technique of going from a sitting position to a standing position, because it's really important that we're using our body as efficiently as possible. We're trying to get into a standing position, and we're not doing all sorts of weird and wonderful things that kind of throw us off balance as we stand. One of the most common things that we see with sit to stand is people always start at the really far back edges of the seat like this. And then what ends up happening is your weight is so far back already. As soon as you lift your bottom up, your weight is too far back, and your arms and your feet are up here. So it's very difficult for you to then shuffle your weight forward to then pull yourself up so that you're standing over your legs. And so we tend to see this, and then people trying to walk their legs and arms sort of to help them up. Or we see this where you stand up and you're pushing the back of your legs into the chair to kind of help yourself pull up into a straightened position. So what we're trying to do here is we're always going to start at the very front of the seat here, so that our weight, our center of gravity is already forward. In order to make sure our stand is successful every time, you need to make sure that your center of gravity is always going to be on top of your base of support. Because if your center of gravity is too far behind your base of support, you're going to have to pull yourself up in order to bring your weight forward over your feet. Or if your base of support is too far back compared to your center of gravity, so your center of gravity goes forward too far, you're going to have to catch yourself from falling forward. And so we're going to make sure we start with our center of gravity on top of our base of support already to get you in a good position. So what that means is we're going to lean our body forward as far as we can so that my center of gravity is directly on top of my base of support, in this case, my feet. And then once I have that balance there, I'm going to push the floor away from me as hard as I can, stand up tall, keeping my center of gravity on top of my base of support at all times. And then to sit back down and do exactly the same thing. I'm keeping my center of gravity on top of my base of support at all times. So I'm sticking my bottom back, but I'm sticking my chest forward as equally as my bottom going back. And so my center of gravity is still in the middle of my base of support, and I sit back down. So that we're not doing a crash landing or falling back into the chair and the chair tips. We're being very careful here. So you ideally want the sit to stand to be as slow as possible and as controlled as possible. You're keeping your center of gravity on top of your base of support at all times. So join me here if you haven't already. If you are new to the class today, please stick with this version of both feet on the floor, and you're bringing your center of gravity over your base of support to stand. And then the same thing, when you sit back down, you're keeping your center of gravity on top of your base of support. Now, if you've been here for a while and you want a challenge, you're welcome to try one leg or the single leg bias where you have one foot in front, or you can lift that front foot off completely. And you can do the same thing, standing on the one leg, keeping your center of gravity on top of the base of support, in this case, just that one leg. And then same thing when you sit back down. So you can do that if you like. You can do 3 on one side, then 3 on the other side, or you can keep both feet on the floor, or one leg in front of the other. If you can't lift it off completely, keep that heel on the floor so you're still kind of balanced. You're using that as a bit of an extra support, but you're not kind of doing it single-legged if you can't quite do that yet. The same thing, 3 on one side, 3 on the other side, whether you're doing the bias version or the fully lift off version. So keep going. And as you're doing this today, I really want you to think about your center of gravity. Really be aware and feel where your center of gravity is during this entire movement. And you're trying your best to keep your center of gravity on top of your base of support at all times as you're doing this. As slow and controlled as possible. I don't want to see anybody use momentum to swing themselves up. But if you do feel a bit unsteady, you are welcome to have a table or something in front of you that you can hold on to if you need it. But I do want you to try your best to use the strength of your legs, the strength of your body to help you with this sit to stand. And this is a really good thing to practice because you can improve your body awareness of where your limbs are in space compared to your center of gravity, where your base of support is. Because when we're talking about balance from a very general and basic sense, balance is really just our ability to keep our center of gravity on top of our moving base of support as we walk and climb stairs or do whatever else in our daily lives. And so your ability to be really aware of where your center of gravity is and consciously keep your center of gravity on top of your base of support will really help with that, with the balance. And to avoid as many falls as possible. Okay, keep going. Nicely done, everybody. Let's do 2 more in your own time. So whichever version you're doing, just do 2 more. And then on your very last one, I want you to stay standing. Take your time. If you haven't finished, don't worry. On your second stand, you're going to stay standing, and then you're going to grab hold of something in front of you for a bit of balance. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. It's just to be on the safe side. If you feel like you're a little unsteady today, you're welcome to hold on to something. Okay. Our first standing exercise, we're going to be doing those donkey kicks that we did last time. Although the name says donkey kicks, it's actually not a kick, it's more like a controlled placement of the leg. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna lean forward ever so slightly, kind of like when we were sitting down and we did that incline and we were pulling those arms back, right? So same thing, we're inclining forward just a little bit. And then from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take one knee, we're gonna bring it up to the back of our seat like this. And then we're going to reach that leg back behind us without the trunk moving. So if I do that again, if you look at my trunk, so from my hips up, my trunk, if you look at my torso, you can see that as I'm moving this leg, my body is not moving, right? My body is still as a statue. The leg is moving, yes, but the rest of the body nice and still. I'm not doing this, and I'm not moving my hips to the side or my body up. So we're trying to control this movement so that it solely comes from those bottom muscles here, from the hip muscles. So bring the knee forward and bring the leg back. Bring the knee forward, bring the leg back. While the hips stay still, I'm not twisting the hips and I'm not twisting the body or bending the body in any way. Join me here if you haven't already. Try it and see how you do. Bring that knee up to the chair. Bring the leg back behind you. And when you bring it back behind you, try not to have it close to the floor like this. You want it to be going up, almost like you want your heel to be pointing at the back wall. You want your heel to be pointing at the back wall. So we don't want to be here. We want to be here. So you want to lift it up nice and high if you can. Keep your hips squared. So don't let your hips twist and open. Don't let your body move. Keep your torso as stiff as a statue, almost like you are a statue, and the only motor part in the statue is literally that leg. Everything else stays still. Now, if this is really difficult for you, you can lift that leg lower to try to keep that hip from twisting, if that's your main issue. If your hips are twisting too far because you're lifting too high, you can bring it lower, but the whole point is you want to lift it high enough that you're really squeezing through that back hip muscle. And try your best not to let that leg touch the floor. You don't want to be touching it down and then lifting, touching it down, then lifting. You want to go from the lift straight to the lift, straight to the lift without that kind of step in the middle. But of course, if it's too difficult to go straight back and then forward again, after you reach back, you can bring that foot down and reset for a moment and then redo from the beginning. So this is why, even though it's called a donkey kick, our body's going to kind of do that snap back type position. So it's really important that we're keeping our torso as still and controlled as possible. Okay, let's shake it out. Let's try the same thing on the other side. So shake out your legs for a second, reset, same as before. We're kind of leaning forward on an incline. Then our other leg is going to come up, knee to the chair. Then we're going to bring that leg back and then forward again. You're going to keep repeating this movement, keeping your trunk as still as you can. So remember, we're not twisting the hip out to the side, and we're not moving the trunk. We're keeping our body nice and still. Just that leg moving. You're squeezing that bottom muscle, the back of the hip, to try to help you with this movement. Your body is like a statue, as still as possible. The only thing moving is that leg. And if you need to, you can bring that leg down in between your repetitions, reset, and then do it again from the beginning. But if you can keep the leg off the floor the entire time, I would encourage you to do so. Remember to keep the hips squared. Don't let your hips open. Keep it forward. Whoops, hopefully your chair is more sturdy than mine. I'm still using my dog chewed up chair. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten a new one yet. You can probably see little bite marks on it. And there's a chunk of wood missing from the front. Good, nicely done. Check in with your posture. Are we still nice and still, nice and controlled through the trunk, or have we lost it? Are we starting to arch through the back? Nicely done. 2 more. And let's rest. Let's shake out those legs. Okay. So now I'm going to put my chair sideways because that way you can see me better. But at home, you're more than welcome to still keep the chair in front of you. I'm just going to put it to the side so it doesn't block my legs. Okay, we're going to do those donkey kicks again, but this time we're going out to the side, and it looks like this. I'm going to lean away from the leg that's kicking. It's not really kicking, it's placing. But I'm going to bring that knee up And I'm going to bring the leg out to the side, almost like I'm leading the movement with the outside border of my foot. So the outside of my heel and my foot, I'm lifting it, placing it out to the side, and I'm bringing it back in. Out to the side and bring it back in. Keep your knees facing forward. Don't let your foot go like this. You wanna keep the toes and the knees facing forward, hips squared, and come back in. So your body kind of leans away from the leg reaching, and then it comes back in again to midline. Reach away, and then comes back into midline. So you can hold that chair in front of you if you like, or you can have it to the side, whatever works for you. But I'm gonna keep mine to the side because if I have it in front of you, you won't be able to see. So you wanna keep the knee, the toes facing forward, not like this, facing forward the entire time. Keep that knee as high as you can, and then bring it out to the side. You're trying to get the outer borders of your foot to be leading the movement out to the side, and you're leaning your body away a little bit and coming back in. Try your best to keep the foot off the floor at all times if you can. You might start to feel a bit of burning on the outside of your hip, and that's okay. That's exactly where we are attempting to target. Nicely done. Just like before, your torso is nice and controlled. We're not flopping all over the place. We're keeping our torso controlled as we do this movement. Nicely done, everybody. I'm not sure what to do with my arm now since I'm not holding on in front. Let's do one more. And let's switch sides. So you can still hold on in front. I'm just moving my chair to the other side so you can see me. Just like before, you're lifting that leg as high as you can. And you're bringing it out to the side, leaving the movement with the outside of your foot. You're keeping it, bring it in. And your torso is kind of leaning away from the leg when you have it out to the side. Then it's coming back into the center again, leaning away, back to the center again. Good, leaning away, back to the center again. Nicely done. Try to keep the trunk nice and controlled, even though we're kind of moving from the side and back to the middle. You want to make sure we're not floppy and wobbly. We're keeping our trunk engaged. We're nice and controlled placement of our limbs. Holding on in front, remember, not to the side necessarily, but I've got my chair to the side so you can see me. Nicely done, everybody. Let's do 3 more here. And rest. Okay. I'm going to move my chair for a second. Okay. So we're going to go from some lunges now. Now, at home, ideally, you probably want to hold on to something beside you, not in front, because you will be moving a little bit. I move my chair out of the way so you can see me, but pretend I'm holding on to something on the side, okay? Like a chair or something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to add on to our lunges from the previous weeks. So we're going to go forward lunge like this, lunging as if I'm about to kneel on the floor. And that same leg that went forward is going to push back to the center and then go backwards lunge and back into the middle. Let me show you that again. I'm lunging forward. That same leg is pushing back to the middle, tapping the floor barely, and then going back into a backwards lunge, pushing back to the middle. Now, when you're doing your lunge, you want to imagine your torso is like an elevator. You can only go up and down, but not forwards and backwards, right? So we're not going forwards and backwards, we're going up and down. And you'll notice that my stance is very wide in order to get the lunge, because if I'm like this, and I took a very tiny step, your knees are gonna get stuck. There's nowhere for you to lunge, right? Whereas if you take a bigger step, easier to lunge and get that position. Now, If the lunging is too difficult for you and you can't do that, that's okay. You can do a step, push back to the middle, step back, push to the middle, and so on. So you can do a step instead of a full lunge if you like. But the main purpose of this is I want you to feel your weight shift, your center of gravity going forward over your base of support. Then you're pushing back to the middle. Center of gravity going behind over your base of support. Push back to the middle, okay? So we're gonna do 5 on one side, then we're gonna switch to 5 on the other side. So join me here, let's try. We go 1, push back to the middle, we go back. Here's 2. Keep your body upright. Remember, it's like an elevator. It only goes up and down, not forwards and backwards. Okay, this is number 3. Push back to the middle, going back. Here's 4. Push to the middle, going back. Big push back to the middle. Last one. Lunge forward, push back, going back, push, and rest. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of the torso not going forwards and backwards as you're doing that. So even if you're doing the step version, you want to avoid this with your body. Keep all the strength of this exercise in those legs. We're not swinging our trunk back. We're keeping our torso, our center of gravity on top of our base of support, and we're using those legs. We're using those legs to kind of propel us in different directions, and we're just keeping our center of gravity on top of the base of support. Okay, let's do 5 on this side. Let's try. Here we go. Forward. Push. Backwards. 1. Here's number 2. Push to keeping your center of gravity on top of your base of support the entire time. Here's 3. Big push. Behind. Push. Good. Here's number 4. One more. Here's number 5. And rest. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing now, but sideways. So for this one, you're welcome to have a chair in front to help you with some of your balance if you need. I'm gonna go without the chair so you can see my legs, otherwise they'll be covered. So just like before, here's what we're gonna do. We're going to step out to the side and bend that leg. We're stepping out to the side. So we're kind of doing a lunge sideways, and that same leg is gonna push us back to the middle. We're gonna switch legs and we're gonna step out and lunge to the opposite side. Lunge, same thing, big push back into the middle. So we're kind of moving our weight from side to side now. So just like before, we're trying to keep our center of gravity on top of our base of support as we're moving. So remember, we talked about balance in a very simple way of speaking. It is basically your ability to keep your center of gravity on top of your base of support so you're not falling down. So this is what we're trying. So we're lunging to the side, our center of gravity is here. We're pushing our center of gravity back to the middle. And then same to the other side, we're lunging, center of gravity is here. Now we're pushing the center of gravity back to the, we're using those legs to push and in those directions. So let's try. We're gonna do 6 in a row. So each time we go to one side, that counts as 1. Let's try it. Here we go. Lunge, big push with that leg, push back to the middle. Other leg out to the side. My center of gravity is here. I'm pushing back to the middle. Good. Here's number 3. Lunge to the side, big push back to the middle. You can keep that leg off the floor for a second or 2 if you can for balance. Here's number 4. Lunge to the side, big push. Keep that leg off the floor if you can for just a second, and down. 2 more. Here's number 5. Big push and down. Whoops, lost my balance there. Here's number 6. Big push and down. Good. Shake out those legs. Nicely done. Okay. We're going to now find a wall. We're going to find a wall space. Ideally, a wall that's blank. I know this is a closet, but pretend this is a wall. Ideally, no doorknobs, no picture frames, or anything that you might accidentally hurt yourself on. We're going to lean back into the wall. Our shoulders and our hips are going to be on the wall. And we're going to do our upper back strengthening exercise that we did last time. We're just adding on ever so slightly. So here's what we did last time. We brought our arms up into a W shape, like the alphabet letter W, and we squeezed our shoulder blades together, like what we did at the beginning with this one. We squeezed our shoulder blades together and we press the arms, the back of the arms into the wall as hard as we can without the body and chest coming off the wall. We want to squeeze the shoulder blades, press the arms onto the wall. So we're squeezing our shoulder blades as hard as we can. From here, we're going to go bring our arms up. We're going to slide the arms up into a Y shape, still keeping it attached to the wall. Then we're going to pull it down into a W shape. So we're going to go from a Y shape to a W shape, okay? And the entire time, don't let your arms come off the wall. You want to squeeze the shoulder blades the whole time. We're still pressing the arms on the wall. You're sliding your arms along the wall like you're dusting the wall. Okay, let's relax for a second, shake out those arms. So we're gonna go Y, W, Y, relax, okay? And then we'll repeat that. Let's go for 6 of these. So we're gonna do 6 Y, W, Ys. Okay, here we go. Shoulders and hips on the wall. Bring those arms up to a Y shape. Squeeze your shoulder blades, press them back into the wall, press the arms into the wall. And then we're going to pull them down, slide down the arms into a W shape, keeping the arms attached to the wall and the hips on the wall. Don't let the hips come off. And then slide them back up to a Y shape and relax for a second. That's 1. Okay, here's number 2. Arms up to a Y shape, squeeze the shoulder blades together, press the arms back into the wall. Keep them pressing into the wall and slide them down to a W shape. Keep squeezing your shoulder blades, bring them back up to a Y shape and relax. That's 2. How are we doing? Do we hate this one yet? Back up to a Y, pressing them back into the wall. Same thing, slide them down to a W, keep the shoulder blades squeezing together, back up to a Y, keep the arms against the wall and relax. That's 3. We got 3 left. Arms up into the Y shape, pressing them back into the wall. Keep them on the wall, sliding them down into a W shape, pressing them back up to a Y shape, and relax. 2 more. Arms up to a Y shape, press them into the wall, slide them down into a W shape. Keep the shoulder blades squeezing, back up to a Y shape, and relax. Good. 1 more. Arms up to a Y shape, squeezing them back, pulling them down to a W shape, back up to a Y shape, and relax off the wall completely. Okay. We'll do a bit of a stretch. 1 leg forward, 1 leg behind. The front leg is bent, back leg is straight. You're reaching that heel down to the floor. Really straighten that back knee in order to get a stretch into the back calf. Nicely done. And let's switch legs. Same thing on the other side. Front knee bent, back knee straight. You're reaching that heel to the floor, really straightening that back knee as much as you can. And coming back up. We're going to do a thigh stretch. You got 2 options for this. The first option is you hold on to your foot and you try to reach it up towards your bottom. You keep your knees aligned, so don't let your knee come forward or out to the side. Keep them aligned. You're pushing your hips forward to stretch the front of the hip and the thigh. Or if you're not able to do this, if you can't hold on to your leg, that's okay too. You can grab a chair behind you and you can place your foot onto the chair behind you. Knees still aligned. Don't let the knee come forward or out to the side. Keep it aligned. Push your hips forward. And you should feel a stretch in the front thigh as well. So either this one or holding on with your hand, whichever one works for you. And relax. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So same thing, either hold the foot and pull it towards you, or place it on a chair, push the hips forward, make sure the knees are aligned. Same thing. Nicely done. And relax the leg. Let's have a sit down again. Remember, when we're sitting down, we're doing the same as what we did before with the standing exercise. We're not going to plop down into the chair. We're going to do a controlled lowering down to the chair. Okay. In sitting, we're sitting at the front of the chair, and we're going to stick one leg forward like, oh, let me do this one so you can see. Bring one leg forward, straighten the knee, sit up nice and tall, back straight, hinge forward at the hips to stretch the back of that thigh. Reach down the leg as far as you can to stretch the back of the thigh there. Breathing as you're holding this. There's some loud construction outside my window right now. I don't know if you can hear that. If you can, my apologies. But I'm hoping these headphones are pretty good at canceling out other noise. Okay, same with the other leg, straightening the leg. Let me go on the diagonal so you can see. Keeping that leg straight, sit up tall, back nice and straight, hinge forward at the hips, reach down as far as you can on that leg. And coming back up, we're going to do a bit of a bottom stretch. So we're going to bring one leg up over the opposite knee, sitting up tall. You're going to try to push that leg down, push that knee down to stretch the bottom muscle. If you want a deeper stretch, same thing, you can hinge forward at the hips. If this is already too much for you, then I want you to straighten one leg, the other leg, just cross it over top of the straightened leg and just go as far up the leg as you possibly can. And press that knee down if you can. You should feel a stretch in the hip already in this position, or you can have that bottom leg bent and you lean forward, whatever works for you. Breathing as you're doing this. And let's switch to the other side. Same thing, hook the leg over top the opposite knee, press that knee down as far as you can, sit up tall, hinge forward at the hips to feel stretch in the hip, or if that's too much, the bottom leg can be straight and you can just hold this position. That's okay too, whatever works for you today. Okay, and release. We're gonna take our hand, we're gonna hold on to our elbow, our opposite elbow, and pull it towards our shoulder. And we're gonna press the stretching shoulder down away from us. You're holding onto the elbow, you're pulling it towards the shoulder as far as you can. You should feel a stretch on the outside of the arm here. Keep pulling that shoulder down. And relax. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Hold on to your elbow, pull that elbow towards the opposite shoulder, and that same shoulder is going to press down to the floor. You should feel a stretch across here, hopefully. And lower down. Take your hand, hold on to the opposite knee. The other hand's going to wrap around the back of the chair. You're going to sit nice and tall and pull yourself around into a rotational stretch such that you're looking at the back wall. And relaxing into the other side, take your hand, hold on to the opposite knee, other hand wrapping around the back of the chair, sitting tall, pulling yourself around into a rotational stretch, looking at the back wall. And release. Roll the shoulders back a few times. Nice big circles. And then roll them forward a few times. Nice big circles. And you are done. Thank you, everybody. This is our Stretch and Strengthen class, week number 7. Next week is going to be our final class. So remember, if you are interested in redoing the classes or trying the exercises again, you can go onto our YouTube channel where they're all recorded. If you're not sure where to find that, you can drop us an email and we can always direct you to the link. Thank you, everybody. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it. And I look forward to seeing you all next week, same time, same place. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your long weekend. If you're in BC, you got the Monday off. Bye, everybody. Thank you.